I stupidly thought that reading 500 books this year in the year of our Lord 2025 was an accomplishment that I could reach. Let's see if I can actually do that. Okay. So the story goes is that I got Fable and Storygraph thinking it's a cute little app to track my books. I know that they're going to ask that, do you have a reading goal? So I just chose 500 thinking that it's an even number. And then I just saw how much I read for Q1, basically 3 months. It's about like 6 books in total. I also just realized that I did not at all add this really weird ancient Greek mythology spicy book series. I don't know. I read almost all of them. They're a bit crazy. Maybe let me know if you want to know anything about that. That would have been like 5 plus. I don't know how many books I read there. But it's past Q1, and I'm going to give you some recommendations that are basically like 4 or 5 plus stars. Okay? Okay. Luckily for you, that's only 2 books that I read in Q1. Q1 being January, February, April. This is editing Michelle, okay? That is not how Q1 works. Q1 is January, February, March. April, May, June is second. Obviously. I just want to let you know that I know that, okay? Those 2 books would be Deep End by Ali Hazelwood and How to End a Love Story by Yulin. Hold on, I have my computer right here with me. Q Ang, I think, is how you say her last name. Let's talk about How to End a Love Story, because when I first read it, I was literally like, this could be a movie. This could be a TV show. And then guess what? She is a director. She's a screenwriter. So the way that she writes, if you love books that are typically more cinematic and have a lot of description, and you really fall for those types of characters, and even like the scene, it's based in LA, you're going to love this one. Now, I looked up the reviews. People are haters, okay? It only has like a 3.5 rating. You know what? I don't care. I truly loved the story. And this is the summary that I looked up. How to End a Love Story is a debut novel that delves into the themes of grief, trauma, and the complexities of love. It's set against the background of Los Angeles writer room because the story follows Helen Zhang, a successful novelist, and Grant Shepard, a screenwriter, as they navigate a shared tragic past and an unexpected reunion. So the story goes, they knew each other in their past. They grew up together. They went to the same high school, and something connects them. A trauma, to say, that happens when they're like 17, 18, about to graduate. She has a prominent book. It's about to be written as a TV series. He is a head writer. They fall in love in a way that I thought was so complimentary. Also, another thing that I truly, truly loved is the diversity. She is an Asian American, Helen, the main character, is. And what I really loved about it is that it wasn't predominantly said that she is an Asian American in the way that a lot of TV and books and movies, just in general, literature is written. It just felt like there was no over explaining. She's Asian. And with being Asian and having immigrant parents comes a lot of other complications and trauma and generational trauma that is kind of talked about. And that's actually one of the reasons why people don't love this book, because they feel like, oh, you could delve deeper. That is not this book. This book is about a shared love story where they fix, or rather, they come together due to their shared trauma, but her complications in her past and his complications in his past is not really shared. You don't have to over explain to an audience that they are Asian and that there are cultural differences. It's kind of just stated, which I absolutely love. And it was such a detour from what we typically see with specific diverse characters. I really hope that we get more books out of this author, plus more books like this, where you don't have to say that they're Asian and that they're eating this and that they're doing this and you have to explain it all the time. No, you don't. This second book had me in a goddamn chokehold. Okay? No one drift that. No one take that out of context either. Okay? I'm still politeful. The next book I'm going to talk about is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Deep End follows Scarlett, a Stanford diver recovering from injury and trauma, which she calls the twisties. She who enters a no strings BDSM relationship. It's not really about that at all, which is why people didn't like it. With champion swimmer Lucas, okay, as their bond deepens, she must face fears, growing feelings between each other, and complexities of trust and healing. I really adore this book. I first listened to it audio. I'm not a big fan of audiobooks. I don't know about you. I'm not a big fan. I don't like it because I get distracted with my own work, or if I'm. With that said, I still enjoyed it a lot, even as an audiobook. And then I just got the PDF version, the ebook. It kicks, you know? That shit hits. Now, lots of people, when it first came out, okay, and you look it up on TikTok, people didn't like it. It's either people loved it or people didn't like it. And the people who didn't like it, I think were expecting a very heavy, spicy book because it was BDSM. It's really not BDSM. It is the beginning of a relationship and it's more about trust. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of spicy scenes, so if you want that, you can read it. It is probably her most spicy book, okay? So, like, spicier than Brad. I'm just saying. But it does add a layer of complexity to her characters. I freaking adore Lucas. That's all I want. There is a scene where he takes care of her by feeding her apples, not physically feeding her, but they go back. They do some stuff in some lab room. I'm not going to talk about that. And then they go back, and he's like, "You're hungry, right?" She's like, "Yeah, I could use a snack. Could use some Lunchables I want to eat." They're both athletes, so it's hungry. They go back to his house. They meet his roommate. They start chit chatting. As they're chit chatting, and she gets to know his roommate and a little bit more about Lucas, he is cutting apples for her. And I think there was like a peanut butter dip or something. I don't know. And then he slides the plate towards her, and she's like kind of clocking it at the same time while she's talking to his roommate, but also not. And then once the plate is like landed on her, she's like, "Holy crap." And when I read that, I was like, "Holy crap, a man." I'm just like, wow, a man that takes care of his woman. That is crazy. Not that crazy, but I truly, truly enjoyed this book. Minus one character. Her name is Penelope. She is the ex-girlfriend, Lucas, and she is, I can't even describe her as a pick-me. She's like worse than a pick-me. There is a bit of a foreshadow with her behavior. So it all clicks and makes sense, but she is so annoying. And basically, she tries to set up Lucas and Scarlett because they have the same romantic interests. We should call that. But because of that, she thinks that she can date other people and then come back to him. It's very interesting because you can really clock that Lucas forever loves her. Forever loves Scarlett. And even though he was with his girlfriend Penelope for, I think it's like over a decade, they got together when they were 15, and I think they must be in their like 20, he must be like 22, 23 because he's graduating that year, I'm pretty sure. You can tell that it's like there's no love in that relationship. Regardless, highly, 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 highly recommend you read that book because I think it's one of her top tier books. I would say Deep End, Bride, and then I read her other books. I think maybe I should do one day a video of tiering her books, because I think I have read almost every single one of them except for a novella, because I can't get access and I'm not about to pay for a book. I am going to do Q2 not soon, because I think we're in the middle of Q2 and I need to get on reading. You guys are tilting. I'm going to get on reading and trying to accomplish this 500 book goal. Do you think I should change it? I feel like I should change it. If you don't, comment that you don't, okay? Give me some encouragement. I looked on Fable and it was like, you need to read 62 books in a month to reach this goal. I'm like, that is freaking crazy. Who has time for that? I need to edit this and post this, and I'll see you guys later. Make sure to follow me on all my socials and follow me on Fable and Storygraph, because I'm there too. And we'll follow each other. Bye.